Hey, fellow mathers, before we get into this episode, we want to share with you how you can get access to free content, professional learning that will keep your students engaged and doing the math that matters. Get ready to go to this link, mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge.
That's right. Registration is open for the free Math is Figureoutable Challenge that's starting May 15th and runs to the 17th at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to have 3 nights jam-packed with learning and routines that you can take straight to your classroom.
In these challenges, we have a great time. We do some math, talk about classroom experiences, give away super cool bonuses and prizes. You won't just walk away with routines that are naturally engaging and encourage your students to think mathematically. You'll also have a chance to win over $6,000 worth in prizes, including a few virtual PD sessions for your school. I'll be joined by my wonderful co-host Kim and special guest Jenna Labe.
You can register at mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge for a fantastic learning experience. That's mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. Now on to the show.
Hey, fellow mathematicians, welcome to the podcast where math is figure-outable. I'm Pam.
And I'm Kim.
And you found a place where math is not about memorizing and mimicking, even if you're memorizing what I'm saying, Kim, right now and repeating it in your head, waiting to be told or shown what to do, but it's about making sense of problems, noticing patterns, and reasoning using mathematical relationships. Y'all, we can mentor students to think and reason like mathematicians. Not only are algorithms really not helpful in teaching mathematics, but rotely repeating steps actually keeps students from being the mathematicians they can be.
It's the last line. Every time you get to a thing where you're like, not only are algorithms...
That's the one you can't say?
No, I do. It's the last
Oh, that's
line.
the one you can. All right. That's the one you've got going in your head. That's hilarious. Hey, Kim. So check it out. All right. So I decided today that I wanted to talk about something that happened in my life recently. So listeners, you could write these down. You don't have to. You can just kind of have them in your head. But I'm going to list a series of numbers and then ask you if you know what was happening in my life when these numbers just naturally came up. Okay? All right, here we go. 1536, 1424. That's the first pair. So there's pair of numbers. And I'll tell you there's a colon. So it's 15:36, like 15 minutes, 36 seconds. I don't know, that might be giving too much away. 1536 and 1424 was the first set of numbers. 2502 and 458 is the second set of numbers. And then lastly, 2847 and 113. So I threw that in our Slack communication, like our business. And I was like, this came up. And I said, hey, Kim, if that was true, your set might look like this. So here's Kim's set. If that was my set, Kim's set would look like this. 6.5, 6.6 is one set. 10.2 and 2.9 is the next set. 12.9 and 0.2 is the last set. All right, so listeners, what do you think's going on? What's happening in my life? What's happening in Kim's life?
Sorry. When you put this in Slack, I remember being so confused. Can I say?
Yeah.
Now? Okay.
Yes.
So when you put these in Slack, I looked at your set and I was like, okay, it's combinations of 30 minutes. Like you're doing something for 30 minutes. But when you said your set might look like this, I was like, 12.11? What is... And I think I probably replied something snarky like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, you're like Pam, 30 minutes. Okay. You're counting down to 30 minutes. I can see that. And maybe we'll spend just a second there because 1536 and 1434, those, if you add those,
24, yeah.
That's that. Did I say that wrong? 1424?
Yeah.
Those add together to 30 minutes. 2502 and 458 but you'll notice that it's sort of counting like 15 and it's like, I've done something for 15 minutes, only 14 minutes left. Done something for 25 minutes, only have 4 minutes left. And then the last set was done something for 28, almost and a half minutes. I only have 1 and a bit minutes left. So then when you were like, what number did you even say? Whatever number you said,
I
was
said
like
12.11.
I was
Like,
like, Kim,
you
try
try
again.
again, idiot.
I didn't say
You
idiot. I didn't say
that. You
idiot.
didn't say that. But that's what in my head I was like, when I realized what you were doing, I was like, oh, ding dong. So the funny thing is when I saw your numbers, like I instantly knew what it was. But for some reason, when you put my numbers in, I was like 12.11. And then when you were like, hey, try again.
Add again. Math
and
girl.
I was like, oh, I know what it is, 13.1.
Okay, so let's just say, so my numbers add to 30.
Yeah.
And your numbers add to 12.1. So now let's just let listeners.
13.1.
Or 13, good heavens, 13.1. So let's let listeners think about that for just a second. My numbers add to 30. Hers add to 13.1, which happens to be half of 26.2. There's a hint. Okay, so what I was trying to say, I was kind of curious. I was a little proud. I'll just say it. I was smiling that I've grown a little bit, because that's me on my either exercise bike or elliptical, because I've kind of gotten this 30-minute thing where I'm like, I'm going to go exercise for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And so if I'm seeing 15:36 on the elliptical, in my head, I'm saying 14:24.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing 14:24 anywhere. I'm finding partners of 60 for the seconds and 30 for the minutes, right? Well, 29 for the minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'm trying to get up to 30 minutes. I'm trying to, right? It's like, in other words, it's like, how much do I have left? if I'm at 25:02 and I'm trying to get to 30, well, then I got 4:58 left. And if I'm at 28:47, I'm almost done, right? I've only got 1:13 left. And it's kind of, so listeners, if you're a longtime listener, you might have heard the episode where we were talking about combinations like this. And I had mentioned, this is quite a while ago, I think it's 2 years ago, that I when I only had 60 seconds left, that it was kind of fun for me that I was playing around with, like if it said 12 seconds, then I knew I had 48 seconds left. And conversely, like it would keep counting up. And I was kind of excited that I was able to play with these relationships to 60. Well, now I'm super excited because I'm not only playing with the relationships in that minute, but I'm playing with relationships up to 30. And I just love the fact that I've gained this facility of being able to like have these partners pop. Y'all, when I'm sucking air. I mean, this is after I've been given a pretty good workout. Okay. So I've kind of gone on a minute here because the question was, so what are yours? Like 6.5, 6.6, 10.2, 2.9, 12.9, and 0.2. Why is Kim's number in the world adding up to 13.1? So we've got listeners shouting now because Kim runs half marathons, right? Yeah. So this is your half marathon distance. So it's not time now, it's distance. Yeah. So here's my ignorance. Since I've never run a half marathon, do you actually know where you are like that? Like, do you ever say, hey, I'm at 6.5. Man, I just have 6.6 to go. Is that a thing?
Yes, because I run with an app. And sometimes it says numbers in my AirPods, which is super fun because you can get it to do different things. And so I have this weird thing where I'm sure if there are any listeners who are also runners, I don't love to stop at like 12.64. Like that's not going to be a thing ever. It's like on the mile, no matter what the mile is. And so I often do this thing where I'm like, how much more? Because like if I'm going for a shorter run, it's like 3.64. I'm like, oh, I have 0.36 left to get to the next mile so that I can
to get to the next mile.
Yeah. So, but my AirPods, it'll tell me like what time I'm at, how far I've gone, my pace. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm just like doing all kinds of things while I'm running.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So to bring this up today, we thought we'd do an episode to recap one of our favorite routines ever that Kim made up. And we call it I Have You Need. And I Have You Need is a routine that you can do with your students. You can do with yourself. You can do with whoever you run into to help build important combinations. And so that's a super thing that we can do. We started referring to this in episode 7. So if you've never heard of I Have You Need, then you can head back to episode 7 to hear more about it. But I Have You Need is a routine. We'll just briefly recap just here a little bit, where the teacher decides on a total. And often it will be, in fact, we suggest it's a common total. It's an important total, like 100. So we'll say, hey, today the total is 100. If I have 80, you need,
Oh, am I answering you?
Yeah, please. If I have 80, you need
20.
20 to make 100. And then I could say random numbers like if I have 67, you need,
33.
and if I have 42, you need.
58.
And listeners, we're not waiting very long here. We're kind of showing off a little bit how Kim owns all of her partners of 100. Now, not because she's memorized them, but because she's done them so often and thought about the relationship so often and figured those so often that they kind of become kind of natural relationships that she can figure kind of fast. So it's not about rote memory, but it's about giving students experience figuring those relationships.
And it's not about speed. I mean, you just said fast. It's not about speed. It's about what relationships am I owning and messing with to come up with that partner.
Yeah, and maybe I'll add to that. It's not about speed. It's about cognitive load.
Yeah.
So what we don't want is for students to say, if I say one of those ones I don't even know, 58. If I said, I have 58, what do you need? We don't want students going 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 60. We don't want that. We also don't want students going, let's say I've never thought about this before. 58 to, and it becomes this very laborious and they have to put a lot of effort into. What we want is for them to put the effort into now so that they get more facility with it. Becomes more, they become more fluent. Yeah. So that it's something that they've thought about a lot. And so now in a problem, when they need the difference of 48 to 100, they can just say, well, it's 52 because they've done it a lot. Their brain is used to doing that action. Now it's not about rote memory again. It's about that pathway of thought, of relationships, of connections, that they've now made that pathway strong. And let me just say that 100 is important because if we use 100 and we play I have you need a lot with students with a total of 100, then 100 start to show up. And they almost start blinking. A kid sees a problem like, I don't know, 200 and let's do this, 1,300, 1,300 minus 48. And all of a sudden, like this partner of 48 can become an important tool they can use to solve that problem, right? They can think about, well, if I'm doing 1,300 or 1,300 minus 48, I can think about that 100 in between 1,200 and 300. Yeah. And so then if I know the partner of 48 is 52, well then bam, the answer is 1252. Yeah.
I'm really glad you said that. And you're giving some examples because knowing the partners of 100 or, whatever other suggestion that we're going to offer isn't the goal. It's not like I just need to know these partners. I mean, it might be a fun party trick if you're, people ask you questions, I don't know, but it's not just about like, I have to have all these down. It's knowing those relationships so that you can use them in the midst of other problems. Yeah, that they pop for you in the midst of things that you're working on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So we really like that routine, and we encourage you to use it with your students. So Kim, let me just ask you, what are some of the totals that you think are the major relationships that would be good to do?
I think for young students, working with combinations of 10 and 20 are really important. And then 100.
Hey, can you stay? Well, sorry. Okay. 10, 20. Go ahead. Keep going.
100, 1,000.
So we just did 100, but you're saying total of 10, partners of 10, partners of 20, partners of 100, and partners of 1,000. Those are mostly the important ones. Can you take just a second and talk about partners of 20? Because you have a twist on that.
Yeah. So when I would have started talking about partners of 20, then first I'm working on partners of 10. And so once my students owned partners of 10, then I would say things like, okay, let's work on partners of 20. And so we made the connection. I would write the combinations of 10 on the board or on a poster. And then as I did partners of 20, we would work together with them for a while. And then at some point I would pull up that poster of partners of 10, and off to the side, I would call out the partners of 20 in the same order that I had them on partners of 10. So like if I would have said 7 and 3, 4 and 6, then I would have said, I'm writing that down so I don't forget, 7 and 3, 4 and 6. Then when we were working on partners of 20, I would have said 17 and had them call back 3. And then I would say 14 and have them call back 6. And then once we made a list of some of them, I'd step back and say, this is interesting. Like, does anybody notice anything? And so we'd have a conversation in our class about what they noticed between the 7 and 3 and the 17 and 3, so that kids could generate conversation about, oh, the combinations of 20 are really just that same conversation or the same combinations of 10 plus an additional 10. So I would mark up that poster and circle the 7 and 3, and we'd find that combination of 10 within the combination of 20.
So it's kind of like I'd literally see the equation 7 plus 3 equals 10. And next to it, I'd see 17 plus 3 equals 20.
Right.
And you'd kind of, like you said, circle in the 17 plus 3, you'd circle the 7 plus 3.
And and I might do like a 40, combinations of 40, to highlight that same 7 and 3 is found within each of those multiples of 10.
Like 37 plus 3.
Yeah.
And 34 plus 6.
Yeah.
And you could kind of circle that 7 plus 3 and the 37 plus 3 and the 4 plus 6 and the 34 plus 6.
Yeah. I think it takes some intentional work to help kids make the connection that if you know partners of 10, then you know that 10 is within the other multiples of 10.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I've heard you say that you spent most of your time on combinations of 10 and then a little bit of time on combinations of 20.
Yeah.
Or some time on combinations of 20.
Yeah.
And then a mention of combinations of 40.
Yeah, just a quick, it's like I wonder if it's in other 10s like this. Yeah.
Nice. I'll also note that when you first told me this, I was interested that I tried to mimic you. And at some point I had, so you said 7 plus 3 is 10 and then 17 plus 3 is 20. And I had 3 plus 17. And you're like, no. Pam, just do the teens plus what's missing to 20. So when you're working on combinations of 20 and you mention that combination of 40, do the say the 20, do the teens. You call out the teen and they tell you what's missing. When you do the combination of 40, you call out 30 something and they tell you what's missing. So you're always just trying to get that little partner of 10 within that bigger number. Is that right? That's kind of hard to say. Yeah, kind of cool. So it's not about things like combinations of 7 or combinations of 26 or like random weird numbers, but there are some other numbers that teachers of older students could play with.
Right.
For example, combinations of 180 for angle measure, combinations of 90 for angle measure. I think we could get combinations of pi or 2 pi for radian measure.
360.
360 for degrees. Absolutely. So there's been some other totals that participants have or random people have told us that they thought were cool. We would just suggest that you start with the most important ones, 10, 100, 1,000, and then build towards the other ones as they kind of come up in your curriculum.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
It's really interesting to me because we've talked about this routine for a while now. I mean, in episode 7, but even before that, you shared this routine, and it's I love that you just said so many people have added to it because it's true. When I was doing my classroom, I taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and so I was really focused on combinations of 100 and 1,000. But people have taken this kind of all over the world and have added different parts, and so combinations of 1 and lots of other things. And so we're always really excited to hear how people kind of make their own twists. And in fact, somebody in the teacher Facebook group recently said, I kind of feel like I have to share this. I kind of feel like maybe I made this up. And I think it's really very cool that people were doing little pockets of great numeracy kind of all over. And as numeracy has become a bigger conversation, people are sharing things that they did kind of in isolation, and we're just getting better and better because everybody's sharing on how they want to add into some of these routines, and it just helps everybody grow.
Yeah, I think in that conversation, she actually asked, who should I give credit for? And you guys kind of went back and forth about like, I don't even really know. We're kind of all generating it together and making it better. And that's a great thing. And that Math is Figureoutable teacher Facebook group has been a great place to share and get ideas and help everybody kind of keep moving along. Yeah, very nice.
Let me tell you something else. I knew that we were going to talk about I Have You Need. So I went back and re-listened to episode 7 just to see like, was there something that we would want to add to that we missed? And then I got on Twitter, which, is like, I'm not super into Twitter, but I got on and it's hilarious because Tamara Jones actually just today posted, I just learned a really cool game from Pam and Kim called I Have You Need. Such a quick and easy, no prep way to get your students and yourself thinking about partner numbers. Check out this episode. And she mentioned episode 7.
Nice.
And I thought that was perfect timing.
Sweet. Thanks,
yeah.
Tamara. Nice. Yeah. Glad you're liking it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Cool. And so Kim, we have, if you're like Tamara and you're like the I think it was Jennifer on Facebook that are liking I Have You Need and want to play it with your students.
Yep.
We have a great download for you all about I Have You Need with all sorts with the rules and how to do it and some extensions and things for you to think about. You can download totally free I Have You Need. It's a bit.ly link. So bit.ly, bit.ly / how do I even say this? IHYN. It's I Have You Need. It's the first letters of I Have You Need routine. So IHYN routine. The word IHYN routine. We'll put that link in. That's so weird, right? So bit.ly / bit.ly / IHYN I Have You Need routine. I should say it correctly once. bit.ly / IHYN routine will get you to that download and then play I Have You Need all over the place. And next time you're counting down something, check it out. Here's my new numbers, Kim. Are you ready?
Yeah.
My new numbers, 39:05 and 5:55. So 39:05 and 5:55. Huh?
Good for you. That's fantastic.
Bam! Which just means I'm finally getting some cardiovascular strength going a little bit.
Awesome.
A little longer on the old, cool. All right, y'all, thanks for tuning in and teaching more and more real math. To find out more about the Math is Figureoutable movement, visit mathisfigureoutable.com. Let's keep spreading the word that math is figureoutable. Thank you for listening and making math more figureoutable.
To learn even more, make sure you register for our free challenge at mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. You are not going to want to miss the evenings of May 15th through 17th, starting at 7 p.m. Central.
Math teaching, go register now. That's mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. Join us to make math more and more figureoutable. And if you can't join live, register and we'll send you access to the recordings. We'll see you there.